You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Brad got that song stuck in my head early this morning. So welcome everybody to another episode of Inside Real Estate. You got myself, Paul Apostolakis, Brad Weisgerber, Salvatore Cusmano. Please, if this is your first time listening to the show, thank you for finding us. Those that are coming back, please like, share, subscribe, and obviously hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And also leave us a review if you do so. Please. Come on, man. Don't do that to me.
No, I mean, you did it to yourself.
Yeah. So today we've got Ron Provenzano. He is from Mark Z's team. He's a big listing agent here in the area. He does a lot of listings with one of the biggest teams in Metro Detroit. So today we're going to talk to him all things listings. It's something that he focuses on. And obviously, you know, a lot of people that are selling their houses right now could use some tips on selling, even though it's kind of, you know, it's not that hard to sell a house right now, but, you know, he probably has a lot of good insight on what's happening on the listing side of things. You know, we talk to a lot of buyer's agents, Brad. We probably don't spend that as much time talking about listings and what it takes to list a house. So that'll be interesting to do. Housing prices have gone up again in September, another double-digit gain in prices. That doesn't seem to be slowing down, which is interesting because it felt like it was slowing down, but the appreciation side of it is not. What's one thing I found? Well, go ahead, Brad.
Prices are just going up and up and up, and it's fucking crazy.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah, that's one way to put it. That's one way to put it. But without further ado, let's get Ron on the show. We'll get some background on him. Ron, welcome to the show, my dude. Oh,
Good morning.
Good morning, man. Can't see your head. There we go.
I unfortunately can't see you two gentlemen or hear anything.
You can't hear us? Oh, interesting. Well, we'll Ron, let's see if we can get you back on. Can you hear us now? No. He can't hear us. Natalie, will you work with Ron to try to get him up and running? In the meantime, it's me and Brad.
Yeah.
Thank you, Natalie. So, Brad, what do you think about this appreciation? We had another. You try not to think. All right, try not to think.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Well, hold on. We're seeing if Ron, can you hear us?
Good morning.
There we go. Can you hear us? Okay.
Not super good, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can get through this. So, Ron, welcome to the show. I know this is your first time doing it. Tell us about your background. What is it that you do over there at Mark Z's team?
At the Mark Z team, I specialize in listing and selling properties. That's my function here. I go on appointments. I self-generate my own. I have great inside sales associates that set me up on appointments. We get incoming calls as well from billboards and the internet and Ylopo and different CRMs we use. And we go out and get them and go out and do a listing presentation, pricing presentation. And it's your job to go out there and persuade and influence the people that you're the best choice for them. Luckily, I can tout being on the team in the state that sells the most homes. So that's a great bargaining chip when you're going out there.
Yeah, when you say we do more of this than anybody else in the area, that's a pretty good statement to have to make when you're selling somebody's house. What are some of the objections that you get from people looking to sell their houses? Because right now, you know, with the double-digit gains that we've had, people have equity in their houses, right? And some of them might not even realize how much equity they actually have in their homes, right? So when you go on a listing appointment, what are some of the things that you're hearing from people that are either, you know, they're like trepidatious or what's causing them to kind of back off from listing right now?
I'd say the most common one we can hear at times is, I want to find one first before I put my home on the market.
Yeah.
They're scared that they're going to end up homeless. That's the biggest fear because inventory is at an all-time low. I believe we're 40% down than we were a year ago.
Yeah.
So people are scared to go on the market. And I have to explain to them that finding one first before putting their house up is absolutely the wrong way to do it. That's backwards.
Yeah. So why do you think that's backwards?
Why?
Yeah.
Why do I think it's backwards?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, simply because if I was taking you out tonight to show you a house and you needed this house to fund the next, okay, which most people are in that position, they need to sell to buy. And we go out and you fall in love with your house and it's beautiful and I submit the offer. Odds are every home has multiple offers right now. So if I laid out 5 offers in front of you, no matter what the price, contingent offers have very little chance of winning. Meaning you getting into your favorite house hinges upon you selling your house that's not even on the market yet. Or you have 4 conventional offers ready to go right now. What offer would you take?
Right. It's hard because, you know, it's a scary thing because it's like, what do I do? Okay, I sold my house. My house is sold. Where do I go? You know what I mean? So how do you talk to your clients about that? Where do I go now that I sold my house? Yeah, great. I sold it, but I don't have another house in my pocket yet and I got to live somewhere. So what do I do?
Well, you know, 5,000 homes were sold in the Metro Detroit area just last month. And I'm willing to bet one of them would have fit your criteria. Because you got to understand that truly special homes, they sell before they even hit the market. They sell before they go coming soon even. And I can show you what's called our coming soon catalog and give you early access to what's called pocket listings and give you the best chance of winning.
Yeah.
Would that be something you'd be interested in? And by and large, they'll always say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
People can say whatever they want. If you offer them $1 million for their house, they'll go rent an apartment right now. That's a fact.
You know, there is a point.
I will live in a van down by the river.
There you go. There is a point to that because there's so much equity in these houses that you can afford to rent a place or get, you know, almost like temporary housing until you find the house that you want to live in. You know, if you make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more on your house than you expected, that's some pretty good leverage on your new house. I mean, on buying an interim or renting something short term or living with family, right? Yeah. So I love that Ron's
just a quieter area. I believe my AirPods are in the car. I apologize. I can't hear you guys very well.
I love this. The first time we've had it's one of our guests actually walking to their car. This is awesome.
Let me get in here.
There we go. All right, we're gonna get in the car.
All right, I did find my AirPods. Please stand by just for 1 second.
Yeah, no, we'll talk some more about that. So, Brad, I mean, what would you do in that situation, right? Somebody comes to you and you've thought about selling your house, but you don't have another one to buy, and you don't want to have a contingent offer. It kind of puts you in a weird spot, right?
It puts you in a really weird spot. I don't know what I would do because I mean, obviously, I'm not faced with that predicament right now. That'd be scary shit, man. I don't know if I'd want to sell my house without having any place to live lined up. You know what I mean? I don't want to be unhoused.
Yeah, but what do you do when you have to move? Let's say you have to move, right? Or you have a reason to move and contingent offers just aren't being accepted. You know
contingent offers are very difficult to get accepted because the way I price homes and position them to create the bidding war for my clients, if you have a contingent offer and let's say it's 10,000 above asking, but I got 4 conventionals willing to fight over right now, it's game over. Now, if your house is pending already or past inspection, that might give you a better statistical chance of winning with me. But by and large, you got to have the money to win my listings.
Yeah. What do you say to the person that says, you know, I don't need a real estate agent to sell my house in this market?
Is it your goal to lose a huge amount of money?
No, I don't want to lose a lot of money, Ron.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So you definitely do need a real estate agent because simple fact is 95% of homes sell as a direct result of being on the MLS.
Right.
Now, if it was that simple, why is there something called the expired list? All right. Those are the homes that leave the market unsold. 3 things have to line up. 3 perfect planets have to go up in alignment for me to create, say, the perfect eclipse for the world's best buyer to see your home. Got to have photos and description, marketing, firepower, and price. If any of those are off kilter, your home will be invisible to the world's best buyer.
Total eclipse of my heart.
Yep, absolutely. Great song. Yeah. For sale by owners, the biggest myth I think with those is that they don't want to pay a commission, right? Everyone says, I don't want to pay a commission.
Right.
I don't believe that's truly the reason. I've never met a seller yet in all these years that couldn't wait to pay me. Right. I think it's just that they think they can do it on their own. They think they can do it on their own. They don't see the value in an agent because their neighbor gave their house away at a huge discount they can too. So it's up to your job as a professional to educate them in the process and show them how you do business differently, show them the value. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, what does the general public think? We're all the same. Now, given that we're all the same, who would you hire? Well, that would be the cheapest, right? So you have to show them your value. You have to have a value proposition before you even go in the door.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's not even about, like, if I were to sell my house, it's not even about the price that I'm going to get for my house. It's not about how much you're going to sell my house for. To me, it's more about, I don't want to deal with the paperwork and the contracts and the bullshit. Buying and selling a house is stressful enough. I don't want to have all that other shit piled on top of me. Like, you do it, I would gladly pay you the commission for that. Getting more money for my house is a bonus. Like, I don't want to do the paperwork.
I'll tell you from a mortgage standpoint, Ron, it's a nightmare when somebody sells their own house because, you've got purchase agreements, you've got addendums, there's a lot of moving parts of selling a house when you're talking about contracts and title work and mortgage and buyers and sellers, and you put it all together. The average consumer out there does not have the wherewithal. They're going to need help with all that stuff anyways, right?
For sure. I mean, we took a 40-hour course to do this for a living, and you just want to do it. And there's a lot of moving parts, as you stated, with inspection, disclosure law, negotiation, things of that nature. I can cut my own hair and I could paint my own car. I can, but I never would.
That's a very good point. I actually, during the pandemic,
discount agents, they'll give you discount results for free. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, during the pandemic, I cut my own hair, Ron. It was not a good
That was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. It was pretty rough because you couldn't get your hair cut, right? So I had to get my own
for
haircut.
Sure.
And now I go back to the barber because I need to go get back to the barber. That's a good point. So when you go to a listing appointment, and one big thing right now is pricing the house properly, right? Do you get a lot of consumers right now that are looking to price their house out of market almost? Like they're like, well, my neighbor just sold for X. I want to sell for X, right? I want to make this much money. Are you getting that a lot where people have they're looking for a higher price than potentially the house is worth?
I get asked that quite often. Has the market shifted in the past several months? I get asked that every day.
Yeah,
absolutely. It has. It is still the strongest sellers market in the past 20 years, according to Mark Z. And I'm living proof of it. I see it. The people that are suffering and hitting the expired list now are the overpriced listings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In April, May, and June, if you took a house worth $550 and threw it up for $600, believe it or not, you could get it. It was insane. People waiving inspection, waiving appraisal. It was out of control. Now the market has shifted where those houses are fallen by the wayside and fallen off the market. So I have a very strict pricing presentation. I present it to them where picking the proper price, I make it their idea.
Yeah.
Because there's no danger in underpricing your house on day one unless you're too eager to take the first offer. And I show them how that will benefit them.
Yeah.
And I don't do it like anyone else.
That's a pretty good strategy because, a lot of times when you're overpriced, you're not going to get looked at. If you're fairly priced, you're probably going to get multiple offers. Is that true in your opinion?
Absolutely. I cannot stress enough. If you're lying in bed at night, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and you're wondering, why isn't my house selling? It's the price.
It's the price.
Period. I don't care if there's a hole in the living room wall or puppy urine all over the carpet. I've sold them both.
Yeah.
It's the price.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing that proper pricing can't solve.
Right. That's a good point. Now, are there things that people can do to their homes to potentially get a better price that isn't like obviously like decluttering? You've heard, declutter the house before you sell it, taking proper pictures for your listing. I can't tell you how many times I've seen real estate agents just put up really shitty photos and they're like in the background. There's stuff on there's a thumb in the way. There's clutter on the thing. The people's like clothes are in the bedroom. Like it's just not cleaned up. And it happens still happens. And it's very, very unprofessional. And I'm curious how you feel about that. Because for me, it drives me nuts. I'm like, it's like the most simple thing. How are you presenting your property?
Well, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Right.
But at the same time, here's the dual-edged sword. Statistically, the homes with just one photo get the most showing requests. Isn't that crazy?
That
just
is
the
interesting.
picture of the front of the house. People want to see it.
Yeah.
but I hype photos, but yet are they really necessary, right? At the end of the day, I convince all my sellers that ones that want to listen to me and they love money, not to do anything to the house. Cleaning is fine. I'm all for cleaning and shampooing the carpet, but I don't want you to sink any money into a house you're going to sell, because it's going to take away from your bottom line. You can put the 30,000 into a kitchen and the appraiser will be nice enough to give you 3,000 for it.
Right.
You know, you have to have a fridge, right? They didn't tell you it had to be platinum coated.
Right.
But you chose the platinum coated fridge. So no, I like my homes to go as is, the way they are. And here's a great line. I never make people wait in line to hand me money. And I always remind my sellers that, because the world's best buyer for your house, they're coming tomorrow, only they can't see you because you want to play with Windex.
Right.
And you know how it is. You're at Meijer's, you're at Kroger's, you have your food, you're hungry, and the line just isn't moving. You dump it and you go to Burger King. So imagine that with a $250,000 house. You know, people get bored quick. We're in the 3-second world. You got 3 seconds to keep my attention or I'm bored. You know?
Yeah, it's interesting because we talk about that quite a bit. And if you are going to do any improvements to your house, like let's say you paint all the walls, but you paint them a different color that the buyer wants. Like they might come in and end up doing that stuff anyways. You put in, you know, granite countertops, but the person wants quartz.
Yep. You put $6,000 into paint, and little do you know that your buyer's husband is a manager at Home Depot and he gets a huge discount on paint, and he's just going to come in and paint over it anyway.
Right.
So you just flush $6,000 down the toilet. That could be going with you. When anyone tries to give me that they're going to do this and do this and do this, I said, why don't you do me a favor and take $100 bill and go flush it down your toilet, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I can sell your house for more money than it's worth right here, right now, as is. Would you like me to show you how?
Yeah.
Let me show you how I work, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
The legendary Sal is in the house. Look at that stuff.
What's up, Salvatore Cusmano?
Salvatore's back on the show. How are you?
Paisan.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's going on, man? How you been?
Excellent.
So we're talking listings, Sal. We're talking listings, and you know, kind of like what it takes to sell a house in this market, and kind of the seller's mentality. What, from a seller's standpoint, what are some things to be looking to be on the lookout for when they're talking to, like, because we've got listeners all across the country. If I'm selling my house, what am I looking for in my listing agent, Ron? What are the traits? What are the things that I need out of my listing agent?
At the end of the day, the biggest gripe about real estate agents, and that's why we rank along with the used car salesman, the biggest gripe is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Can you convey to the customer that you're there to serve them at the highest level? Are you going to be communicative with them?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Having a proven track record is nice, but for the newer agents watching, you don't have that track record yet, and you have to put it to them like this. I'm just curious, if I sell your house for $30,000 above asking in 24 hours, would you mind, or would it really matter how dry the ink is on my real estate license if I could do that for you?
All right.
So you want consistency, having a proven track record, a good brokerage. I think communication is key. You have to be able to convey that you can communicate with your client, because that is the biggest gripe about us.
Yeah, you know, we hear that on our side too. Biggest gripe about mortgage sides. My mortgage guy's not calling me back, right? And it doesn't take much, Sal, to pick up the phone and call someone back and let them know what's going on, right? But that is a problem with a lot of consumers. Yeah. So, you know what I mean?
I think the reason that's a big problem is because a lot of these people that aren't calling back to tell them what's going on don't know what's going on.
Yep.
They might not know what's going on, or they made promises they can't keep. That usually, you know what I mean? There's a lot of that happens. Oh yeah.
That hardly ever happens. Yeah.
I mean, it happens in our industry all the time. And I don't know why, because, you know, if you set proper expectations, even if you're letting the client down, at least you told them the truth. But
that's the problem. People don't set proper expectations because they're
afraid.
They want the deal. They're looking at what's right in front of their face.
They're not thinking about behind experience.
That communication is the biggest gripe. Crush that objection in advance. That's the best way to crush an objection, is in advance. Send them a video. Just shoot them a video. You know, if I don't get a listing, I go out in the car and I send them a video text right from the driveway. Hey, it's Ron with Mark Z. I realize that was a lot to digest. If you have any questions between now and next time we talk, feel free to reach out. The other agents aren't doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're afraid to make that phone call. You know, what did Chris Voss say? When in a home selling process, every day is a lifetime, right? Yeah. They're under the same duress as a kidnapped kid's family, where every minute is a lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's better just to call and say, I have no update for you, than not to make that call. I think they'd rather hear, guess what? I have nothing to tell you. As
Oh yeah,
opposed
at
to
least they heard from you. Then they
ghosting
know,
them.
like, look,
Mhm.
I haven't heard anything yet. I'm waiting on it. I will let you know the moment I hear something. That just gives people a good feeling, right? And
For
not
sure.
communicating. I think in your point, I think that's a really good stressor for anybody that's listening. If you're dealing with a real estate agent that isn't communicating or that starts off not communicating, you can get rid of them. And if you're in the process and they're not communicating, you can still get rid of them, right? Like communication is a big deal. Ron, do you work with a lot of expired listings right now?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, we're picking those up a lot right now. Yeah.
Really? So talk to me about that. Why are listings going expired other than the price? Or do you think that's it? Do you think that price is really the biggest thing?
Price is paramount.
Yeah.
Price is paramount, without a doubt. Their agent failed them.
Wow.
Right? The agent let them run the show. When I go in on an expired, when I bring out my expired list and I ask them, I'm just curious, you do know what something called an expired list is, right? Because you're on it, right?
Yeah.
I get them to blame their previous agent. And if they won't blame their previous agent, I at least get them to admit they're not happy their house didn't sell. And I have to show them that, of course, the question, what are you going to do that's different? How are you going to be different? Because the general public thinks we're all the same.
Correct.
You have to tell them, unlike your last agent, I take things one step at a time. Let me show you how I work. And then you go. Yeah. You have to control the interaction. The sale begins at hello. The minute you hit the door, the minute you dial the phone, it's on the minute they say hello.
Yeah.
And you have to take control of the sale. And I cannot stress enough to learn how to sell. Our license says real estate salesperson. It doesn't say market expert, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It doesn't say that. It says real estate salesperson. And you have to know how to sell. You have to know the principles and not violate them. Cannot stress that enough.
Hey, Ron, it's interesting. You don't shy away from the sales side of it. A lot of times, like, because we're so looked at as like used car salesmen, even on our side, right? People are worried with that term sales, because when people feel they got sold, they feel like, oh, I didn't, I got tricked almost, right? But that doesn't always, it's not the case. Selling someone might be just exposing what is already the reality of what's going on and actually being forthright with the actual client, right?
It's persuading those that don't want to be persuaded. It's influencing those who don't want to be influenced. Right. And again, it's always to help them, never to hurt them. So yeah, you have to sell.
Right.
You have to know how to sell. I mean, people say, nobody wants to buy. I mean, everybody wants to buy, but no one wants to be sold. Yeah, there's a different style that, but as the professionals that you guys are as well, you have to be able to educate and inform.
Yeah.
Educating and inform is what we do for a living, right?
Yeah. We got a question from Ashley Smith. She says, ask Ron what he thinks about calling for highest and best offer deadlines.
Ashley, what a mensch, huh? Highest and best deadlines. You want to see my blood pressure explode? Say those words to me.
Yeah. Why?
Highest and best is a violation of the code of ethics.
Okay.
Pure and simple. Highest and best is a disservice to everyone involved in the sale. When I see the men and women I work with dealing with offer deadlines, I know that agent don't know what they're doing. You can't handle the phones. They can't handle the phones. They can't handle the multiple offers. So they put a false deadline up just to basically stop the bleeding. I would literally never do that. That's a lazy realtor tactic, and it hurts everybody involved.
So what do you do? That's different in that situation, Ron? Because highest and best comes up a lot, Sal, right? I mean, that happens quite a bit for us, right? So
I call for lowest and worst instead, highest and best. It's just utter nonsense.
Isn't everybody doing highest and best anyways?
So many people do that, and I always say 95% of the real estate agents around us have no idea what they're doing, and those are the ones that fall into that category.
Why does that hurt
everybody involved?
Why?
Well,
Why
think
does
about
that
it.
hurt them?
Think about it. I'm cutting you off at 3:00 today, Paul, and then at 5:00 tonight, you're out to dinner with your aunt, and she says, "Paul, why are you so bummed out?" "Well, I missed out on the house. We lost by 15,000. "Oh, I'll give that to you. No problem. You can pay me later." And then what? You're going to call me up and I say, "Oh no, I shut the door on you 2 hours ago." Right? It's just a disservice to everyone involved. It's not good for the seller. It's not good for the buyer.
Yeah.
In any way.
That's
deadlines. When people try to give me their deadlines as well, they'll call me up. "Well, Ron, you got till 7:00 tonight to answer me." And I just say, "Would you like the answer now?" And when they say, "Yeah," I just say, "No. Your answer is no." Because I know for a fact in this market, if I call you at 7:01, you're going to get whiplash run into your iPhone to take my phone call. So,
right. It's like trying to bluff the bluffer, right? Almost.
Right. You
know what I
have to
mean?
be a master negotiator in what you're doing on all accounts, without a doubt.
And that goes back to selling your own house, right? These little things, these little
Mhm.
nuances. If I'm selling my own house and I got someone forcing me on a deadline, I might feel some kind of stress or uncomfortableness, or I might not, I don't know how to deal with that. I'd be like, oh, but if I'm a professional listing agent and I've dealt with that multiple times, I know how to deal with it. You know how to deal with that, right?
For sure.
So that there's a big difference there. I mean, it's just these little nuances that do make a big difference when hiring a listing agent and hiring the right one. What sets your team apart from other teams when listing houses? You know, like, right? What is it that you guys do differently that maybe another brokerage won't?
Well, I think the firepower of the marketing campaign. Mark spends, last I was told, $120,000 a month on marketing
Right.
because he wants everyone to know what he has, and that will include your home. We have the market awareness. I don't see Joe Blow Real Estate's billboards. I don't see their commercials. I don't hear them on the radio. Mark hits them by sea, air, and land, and that brings brand awareness, and it drives people to the site. You drive to the site, there's the list of homes. It's
Right.
just another tool. It's another tool.
Yeah. So the notoriety of Mark and what he's built is kind of helping really quite a bit with his clients. How many listings?
Without a doubt.
How many listings are you going to do this year, you think, Ron?
I think this year I'll probably close out probably about 50.
50 listings. Yeah. That's quite a bit. I mean, we're talking 2 or 3 every single month, right?
Yeah, good price points and good volume, which I don't like to ever brag about the volume. When sellers ask me, how much have you sold this year? Right?
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm not here to brag about how rich I am. I'm here to brag about how rich I'm going to make you if should we choose to go forward. Sound good? And they go, yeah, every time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Sal, in your opinion right now, what are you seeing in the market? Are you seeing things slow down or speed up?
It's hard to say. I mean, I've definitely been getting a lot of people wanting to get pre-approved lately, but it's you know, I think that a lot of people are thinking more opportunity is coming, which probably is, right? I mean, as interest rates continue to rise slowly and you know, values are maybe as crazy as they were a couple months ago, I think a lot of people are thinking, all right, now's the time, which we good. You know, bring some stability a little bit to the market, and hopefully there's more listings for these buyers, but still going to be way more buyers than sellers.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's the law of supply and demand is inarguable. It's the eBay effect, and you can't argue it. House in Northville, I threw up for $824,900. We got them $840 within about 6 hours in multiple offer situation. So it's still out there, but like I said, the people that are suffering are your overpriced listings. When the agent knows they're pricing it over or buying the listing, we call it, they're hurting everybody involved, especially their seller.
So let's talk about that. What is, so when you say buying the listing, so the audience understands, you know, a listing agent, I'm selling my house. I'm probably going to talk to a few listing agents just to kind of get, you know, if I'm smart, that's what I'm doing. I'm talking to 2 or 3, right?
They always do.
Right. And a lot of times, you know, you're going to get 2 offers that are, you know, 2 listing numbers that you're going to have roughly about the same. There's going to be one outlier, and you're going to be like, wait, this guy's saying he's going to give me $50,000 more for my house. I'm going to go with that guy, right? Is that what you mean by buying listings?
I think when buying listings is if you run your numbers and you know for a fact the house is worth $330, and instead of telling them the real deal and they're a for sale by owner, say, or an expired, well, we want $375. Okay. No worries. A sign in the ground is better than a sign in the trunk, right? That's the old saying. It hurts everybody involved. And you
especially
throw it up for
the seller. Especially
it hurts your client, who are you there to fight for. You're their advocate. You're their attorney, so to speak. And right out of the gate, you're hurting them.
Well, you're being hired by them to do a job, right? They're being hired.
You're failing them.
That's failing. And you see that happen quite a bit.
Oh yeah, constantly out there when we go take over listings from people, and I look at the numbers, and you know, I'm like, hey, if it was just a matter of pricing, let's put up every house for $1 million and we'll get $1 million, right? Isn't that how it works?
Right.
You know, and some agents operate like that.
What areas in Metro Detroit right now are you seeing that are hot, and do you see any of them cooling off? Like, you know, Royal Oak's been hot historically. Just because of its location, you know, like you mentioned Northville. Northville's always done well. Are there any areas in Michigan right now that you're seeing that are like super hot, and then do you see any that are cooling off?
Out in this neck of the woods, Plymouth, Livonia, Canton are your trifecta.
Yeah.
Canton is the hottest. I put a house up in Canton, I get attacked.
Really?
Left, right, and center. Canton is the strongest market out here.
Wow.
A ranch in St. Clair Shores is gold. That's going quick. A nice house for $324,900 in Macomb Township will be gone in minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. Yeah. Downriver, people are moving into Brownstown area. They're picking up quite a bit as well. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, you mentioned the price point. What price point are you seeing that's having success? And is there a price point right now that is kind of having like if a home is, like you mentioned, 800,000, you sold it in 6 days. Is that atypical?
6 hours.
6 hours. I'm sorry. So you're right. 6 hours. Is that atypical for a house at that price point, or is that still typical for those houses going that fast?
In general, the law of supply and demand applies to every single house on earth.
Yeah.
Right. The ones that are hurt are your Matt Stafford's homes for $5 million, $6 million, or the $4.2 million. Those houses were built specifically for those people that own it.
Right.
So finding a person that just wants to walk in and have a 7-foot shower, it's going to take more time. But as far as a $200,000 house or 8 or 6, it doesn't matter, or 1.1. If you price correctly, if you're underpriced on day one, it'll go quick.
Yeah.
And the fast, as we all know, the faster it goes, the more you get, the longer it takes, the less you get. And that's what a lot of sellers don't realize. They think of the myth that if we're patient and we have it out there a long time, it'll be better for us. And that falls right in line with when you watch the police shows and they're fighting the guy and he's got a gun and a knife and they're trying to read him the Miranda rights. That's the biggest myth in the world. You don't have to do that.
Right. That's interesting. So what do you see coming up for the winter, Ron? How do you feel about the market going into the winter months?
Well, statistically, the 2 biggest closing months of the year are June and December. So November is going to be good, right? Yeah. And then you're going to get the people that want to wait until after the holidays. Correct. And that's where being a salesperson comes in. And you have to explain to them that if we have you up December 15th and sell you December 17th, you're not going to be homeless for the holidays, right? Not only is that a bad idea, because you know who else is waiting until after the new year? All your competition.
Yeah.
Again, I pound the law of supply and demand to these people, and it's inarguable. It's like gravity, and it applies to everything and everybody. So I point that out to them. So no, I don't see it slowing down at all.
No,
I don't see it slowing down. If you know how to sell, no, not at all.
Yeah. Where do you think interest rates play a factor in things? If rates start going up, do you think that's going to affect? To Sal's point, if rates start going up, there is this mad dash. I got to get in before rates go up too much, right? Do you believe that rates going up will affect the housing market, or do you think it's going to cause more anxiety and causing people to move quicker as they start going up?
I think that might make them move quicker.
Yeah.
Because, why did we explode after we got back online last May, post the initial COVID rush? Is I got asked why people are moving, doing this and that. It's like, I think anyone who was on the fence about moving, once they were cooped up with their family for 2 months, they knew it was time to move. Anyone who was on the fence got knocked off.
Right.
So at the end of the day, someone will always need a place to live. And taking a house worth $450 and putting it up for $424,900 is going to ensure I get these people $460.
Yeah.
And you can't argue it, So interest rates, it might create urgency. Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of millennials in the market right now?
Oh, big time on the buy side. Yeah, I'm seeing younger and younger couples at the closing table.
Yeah.
Kids in their late 20s. I'm seeing an influx of those.
Yeah, which I think also exacerbates the supply-demand issue, because that's a huge population of people that are looking to buy houses. And we don't, and in your opinion, we don't have enough houses on the market to what's our inventory right now, Ron? Is it 6 months?
It's at an all-time low. I'd say really 90 days at best.
3 months.
Right. Yeah. At best, maybe 30. It's still on fire. And all those kids, they're buying up Royal Oak and Ferndale right now.
Yeah, that is true.
It's fashionable. Yeah.
It is fashionable. Absolutely. Any tips for people out there that are listening? What are like the 3 main tips that you would give someone that's looking to sell their house?
Listen to your agent. Don't fight them. and they have your best interest at heart.
If you hire the right one.
If you hire the right one. Cleaning is fine. Keep the beds made, the toilet seats down. But I'd say, by and large, listen to the professional. Don't think you know more than them.
Yeah.
I think that's critical for a seller. And we encounter them quite often. I've done this before, I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's great. I sold 3 houses last year. I said, okay, great. I did that the other day. So,
right.
No worries. And you got to have fun with it. Humor is everything. That's how you slip in the back door. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, Ron. All right. So, and if it from a consumer standpoint, what am I looking for in a good agent? If I'm in Wichita, Kansas, and I've got 3 agents in front of me, what am I looking for in a good agent to sell my house?
I think the one that has a plan.
Yeah.
And the one that can transfer their certainty, the one that is most grounded in their own reality and can transfer their state to you. You want the professional. When you're with a professional, right? You go to the dentist for a root canal and they sit down with you and they're nervous and shaky and ask you what drill they should start with. How fast would you run out of that room?
Right.
That's what you're looking for. I think confidence is supremely important.
Like a good bedside manner is probably.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think the agent that can transfer their certainty to you is going to win.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the confidence of the salesperson on the other side makes a lot of sense.
Critical.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Do you guys have any questions for Mr. Ron about listing homes?
What would you say the biggest mistake that people make? Not necessarily like, not listening to your agent or something like that, but maybe when they're thinking of, prepping their home to sell before they even talk to an agent. A lot of people, like I find on our end, right? They're like, well, I want to buy a house. I've done all this stuff. I've paid off all my debt. I've, filed my taxes, whatever it is. And then they call us, right? And I'm like, man, well, you could have qualified easily and now you have no money. Right. So what would you say, like on your side of things, you see with that?
The biggest mistake they make is pumping money into a house they're going to sell. Period. Yeah. I can't stress that enough. Wanting to paint, lay $6,000 carpet, paint the walls, do this. I want to update the kitchen because they think they're going to get more money for that. And there's doofus agents out there who tell them to do that.
Yeah.
And it hurts them. I don't care how much money you put in the house, you're not getting it back. It's better to let it go as is and let Mr. and Mrs. Smith supply the carpet. Let them paint, let them renovate, let them re-cement the driveway. Because I'll put it to sellers like this. Well, let me ask you, you're concerned about your driveway, right? There's some cracks in it. Now, if you were out for 2 months getting shut out of house after house, getting killed in bidding wars, but you had a chance to win this house, would you really care about that driveway, or is that fixable? Right? And that's how I put it to them. I go, because that's what the swarm of buyers out there are dealing with right now. They'll overlook that. What bothers you won't bother them. There's 7 billion people on earth and they all don't think like you. And that's what I emphasize to them.
Especially with the supply demand issue, the way that it is in this market, right? I mean, the supply demand issue is a real thing. That's not, do you feel like that's going away or no?
No. Like I said, the only one that are suffering are overpriced listings when the agents knowingly overprice the house to win the listing or to win the hearts or let the client run the show. When you let the client run the show on the buy side or sell side, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very painful process. You're the professional. They hired you to guide them. You got to guide them in, guide them out. Hold their hand every step of the way.
Yeah.
Not just say, well, what do you want to do? Yeah.
You ever have to fire a client for not listening?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the market speaks, right? Even if I think I'm underpriced, right? If I think I'm underpriced and we're not getting offers flying at us the first week, we're adjusting. Yeah. I never say lower. I never say drop. I say adjust or reposition. And I'll redo pricing with them and they don't want to see it my way, I'll fire them.
Yeah, if they're not going to play ball, ultimately you've got to do what you've got to do to sell the house, right?
Absolutely. I'm here to help you, never to hurt you. You're telling me you don't want my help? Have a nice day.
Right.
I don't get stuck on one client. I don't get stuck on a house or a subdivision or a price point, right? You got to have the abundance mindset. With say for sale by owners, expireds, your sellers. I don't need you. I just need enough of you. You have to have an abundance mindset, which is critical.
That's awesome, man. All right, we're at the part of the show where we do 3 random questions.
Okay.
These are totally random. And first question we'll ask you is, what scares Ron Provenzano?
I don't like snakes.
Snakes.
Period. I don't like snakes, and I don't like heights. Add heights to it, even though I'm almost 6'4". I don't like heights.
So if you were like snakes on a plane, that would fuck you up.
Oh my God, man. Oh, I'd be grabbing the parachute, brother. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. If you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Pizza all day long. I mean, a $5 large, that's dinner and breakfast for $5 right there, man.
Dude, dinner and breakfast on the $5 hot and ready.
For $5, baby.
Those hot and readies at least last 3 days outside of the fridge. I don't know how.
Absolutely. They're nuclear. That crust alone, you could use that for a baseball bat on day 3 or a home, a self-defense device.
But it's still edible somehow.
Accurate.
It's very handy. Yeah. It comes in handy like a AAA card. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. And I could do pizza the rest of my life too. Actually.
Absolutely.
Really good. Third question will be, if you could spend a week in somebody else's body, who would it be and why? And it could be past or present.
Are there children watching this show?
Not really, man. Nobody really watches the show.
I would have to say, a fictional character is living the life, man, that we'd all want. James Bond.
You want to be James Bond? All right.
James Bond. I mean,
not the actor. You
life.
Want to actually be
James Bond all the way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't buy that adventure in stores, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that much heat on me, dude. I don't think if I'm in like Russia and getting I'm a spy, I'm not going to handle that well.
Well, the gadgets and the chicks might trump all of that. You never know. Keep you warm.
Yeah, he deals with the pressure pretty well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Ron, anything you wanna say before you go?
First and foremost, I wouldn't be here in this position without the perfect storm of Mark Z. Right, yeah. Joining the Mark Z team 2.5 years ago, best thing I ever did. Yeah. Him and Kurt Shewell. I asked them to put me on the battlefield because I've been promised that for years and no one would do it. Yeah. And they did. So I'm eternally grateful to them. I got to thank Steve Palms, Kenzie Ritchie, Kaylee Vogel for setting me up on appointments. I got to thank Brendan Clark and Kirk Weber, Eric Persha for pushing me in what I do, because we have our friendly competitions. But at the end of the day, my gratitude towards Mark Z and Kurt Shewell, that's why I'll never
feel very gratified that you're in the right position with the right team.
Absolutely. I was never going to join a team in my life, and I ended up here. I walked in, I knew I was home. I was made to feel I'm home. 2.5 years later, people tried to poach me to other brokerages. I'm not going nowhere. I don't care what they offer me. This is my home, and they make me feel at home. So I'm eternally grateful to them.
That's awesome, man. Tell the audience how they can get a hold of you if they're looking to list their house.
Absolutely. You can hit me up on the Instagram at Ron Pro Closes. My cell number is 586-690-5511. I always answer the bat phone. ronp@soldbymarkz.com is my email. And if you're interested in, EXP Realty, getting part of that rev share, that downline, just the leads, the environment. If a team isn't for you, EXP might just be. But yeah, hit me up. I'm always available for questions, and I never dodge a phone call.
That's awesome. Ron, thank you for doing the show on short notice. I know that we asked you to do it like yesterday, and you've been an awesome guest, man. Like you said, you're a born entertainer.
Thank you. Anytime, gentlemen. I'm up for it. I love it.
I love it, man.
I love your insight. Give me a stage, and I want the brightest spotlight. Let's do it.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, thank you for doing the show, man. God bless. Have a great day, okay, man? Good luck out there. Tell Mr. Mark Z I like his new commercials.
He'll love to hear it. So definitely.
All right, care, guys. We'll talk to you soon. I like that guy. That guy actually has a lot of good, right?
Yeah.
He has a lot of good insight on listing houses, man. I mean, he definitely knows his stuff, which is good, which is really good. Oh, Nancy Robinson says, good show. That is a great compliment, Nancy. Thank you very much. We have a listener, everybody. All right. Well, guys, thanks for being on the show. Obviously, Sal and Brad. But for those of you that have stuck around, thank you for listening to the show. Please go to irepodcast.com, Facebook.com/IRE podcast. If you want to see us live, you can go to YouTube to see us live. You can go to any podcast app to catch us there. If you do so, please leave us a review. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell to not miss an episode. Other than that, we will be back next week with another episode of Inside Real Estate. Thank you, boys.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.